This little box has made regulating the humidity in my humidor almost effortless. Stick around. Fellas, welcome back. It's Robert, your everyday gentleman. And if you're like me, and you not only enjoy smoking cigars, but you also like to keep, a certain amount at home in a home humidor, then you know that keeping the levels of the humidity can sometimes be a challenge. Now, I've talked to you guys about my home humidor setup, but after some time using it, it's actually been pretty difficult to keep it at 70%, which is what I like to keep my cigars at. But this unit right here from Cigar Oasis has completely eliminated that headache. But before I start talking to you about it, if this is your first time here, I want to welcome you. If you're into not only cigars, but also things like men's style, fragrances, grooming, fitness, whiskey, pipe, and other topics for the everyday man, then this might be the place for you. Consider subscribing and joining the growing EG family. And if you're already a member, I want to thank you for your continued support. And without further delay, let's talk about the Cigar Oasis Ultra. So there's a number of reasons that your humidor may not hold the humidity that you want. It may be that there's some leakage somewhere in the build, or that it was built out of a wood that doesn't retain the moisture. It could also be that the humidifiers are too small for the size of the humidor. Now in my case, it was that the humidor was made out of the wrong wood, so it wasn't holding the internal humidity even after multiple attempts of seasoning. Now humidors are typically built out of Spanish cedar because this is the type of wood that holds the moisture needed in order to keep your cigars fresh. In addition, you can see that my humidor is a little bit larger than your standard desktop unit. This cabinet is actually made to hold up to 100 cigars. And a larger humidor means larger space, more air volume that needs to be made humid, and then also the larger door makes it easier for that air to escape. Now, since this was a gift from my brother-in-law, I wanted to make sure I tried everything I could in order to keep it. So after multiple attempts, trying different things, and ultimately coming to failure, I was getting ready to give up and just go with a different humidor, but that's actually when I came across the Cigar Oasis. Now I did some research as I was looking at the product, and I decided to give it a try, and I'll tell you, I am sure glad I did. By the way, before I go any further, let me just tell you, this is not a sponsored video. They didn't even provide this product to me for free. I actually paid out of pocket for it. But regardless of any of that, I pride myself in giving you guys a 100% honest and unbiased opinion, so I just wanted to make that clear. Now, Cigar Oasis has actually been developing these electronic humidifiers since 1997, and they were actually the first to do so. And they have a number of different size options that'll suit pretty much any size humidor that you have. Now this model, the Ultra, is actually their smallest model, and it's good for up to 100 cigars. Now, I typically keep about 50 cigars in my humidor, and I wanted to minimize the amount of space taken up by the humidifier, so the slim profile of this Ultra was perfect. Now, what sets this humidifier apart from most other humidifiers is the built-in fan that helps to circulate the air inside of the humidor. There's a cartridge on the side that comes pre-filled with distilled water, and depending on your setup, you're going to need to recharge this every 2 to 6 weeks. For me, it's about 3 weeks. Now, I actually ended up buying an extra cartridge that I keep charged and ready to go in a Ziploc for when this one needs replacement. And these cartridges are actually made to not leak when charged properly, even when lid mounted. By the way, charging the cartridges is super easy. All you need is distilled water and a container to put the cartridge inside of. You basically just take that cartridge and place it inside the container. Then you take the distilled water, pour the water in until it's fully submerged. And then I place a glass on the cartridge so you can hold it below the water and let it sit for 10 minutes. So thanks to technology, we can fast forward those 10 minutes. All you're going to do is take the cartridge out of the water and let the excess water drip out until nothing else comes out. And then once we've gotten rid of that excess water, I take a paper towel so I can dry the exterior of the cartridge. And once it's dry, you can put it right back into the unit to get to work, or you could do what I do and put it in a Ziploc for later use. So what the unit is doing is taking the air out of the humidor, passing it through the cartridge, getting that humidity, and then bringing it back out into the humidor. And when you have a larger space like I do, it's important to make sure that that humidity is reaching every part of the humidor, reaching every cigar, making sure it's keeping them fresh, preserved, and ready to smoke. Now the fan is very quiet too. You can hear it when it's on, and if your humidor is open, you're gonna hear it. It's not very loud though, and when the humidor is closed, it's almost completely silent. Now the humidifier has a sensor built into it that actually reads the humidity inside the humidor, and when those levels drop below whatever setting you put it on, it turns the fan on to make sure those levels get back up. Now the 3.0 model, which is this one here, has some updates to it over previous models, primarily on the LCD screen. You get a beautiful LCD screen that gives you readings on the current humidity, whatever settings you put it on, and then it also notifies you when that cartridge needs to be recharged. And these soft touch keys allow you to adjust the humidity setting to any level you prefer, anywhere between 40 to 80%. Now one of the features that to me is pretty cool but could use some improvement is the Wi-Fi connectivity. This allows you to monitor and adjust the settings on your humidor from anywhere in the world through an app that's available for Android and iOS platforms. However, there is a small fee for the service, and I will say that to me, it's not really worth it, since primarily all you're really able to do is just monitor the levels of your humidor. Maybe if you frequently travel, maybe you're away from home, at weeks at a time, then it might be helpful because you'll be able to tell if your cartridge needs to be recharged. But other than that, to me, this particular feature leaves a lot to be desired. Still, I think it's a pretty cool idea that could benefit from some adjustments, maybe some additional features that come in the future. Now, installation for the Cigar Oasis is pretty easy. It's essentially a plug-and-play unit. It doesn't run on batteries, so you will need a power source. However, the unit comes with a flat USB cable that allows you to run it through the seal of your lid, or in my case, the door, with minimal interference. Now, me personally, I didn't want that cord running through the front of my humidor, so I kind of modified the installation a little bit. I actually ended up running a standard USB cable through a hole I drilled in the back of the humidor, and then sealed that up so it's airtight and I don't get any leakage, and ran that line down the back of the cabinet. I'm pretty happy with the end result. It's pretty clean, there's no wires you can see, and that's the main thing that I wanted. Now the Ultra mounts easily onto a wall, or like I mentioned, onto a lid using a magnet that comes with the package. And that also makes it easy to remove whenever you need to, pull that cartridge out to recharge it. Now, ultimately, the main concern with any product is, does it do what it's supposed to do? And in the case of the Cigar Oasis Ultra, it definitely does. After months of struggling to get my humidity levels right and being on the verge of essentially giving up, the Cigar Oasis ended up being the perfect solution. This would have saved me from smoking a lot of drier cigars, a few months back. But honestly, I'm glad that I waited, because this 3.0, like I said, has that LCD screen, and I just love the way it looks. All in all, the Ultra 3.0 from Cigar Oasis is a product I highly recommend if you want to keep your cigars as fresh as possible with minimal maintenance. I have links down below in case you want to check out the products for yourself. Now, as always, if you found value in this video, make sure you let me and YouTube know by hitting that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, share the video, and do all the things that help this channel continue to grow. And remember, being a gentleman is an everyday thing. Now it's time to get ready to smoke. Cheers, fellas.